Straight all day.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you have expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is the objection is the reason. Or you could call this the excuse is the reason, or you could just say the reason is the reason. And of course, as usual, you will understand what all of that means, and I'll put it all into context in the course of this masterclass episode. But before I do any of that, let me remind you all, I send out a daily motivation text for free every single day to everyone in my text community. So now that I just told you that, there's no reason why you wouldn't be getting this. There's only one logical reason. It's just that you didn't know about it. But now that you know about it, here's what you do. Text me at the following number, 305-384-6894. And every morning, starting tomorrow morning, when I send this daily motivation message out, because you are now part of my text community, guess what? You will receive that message. So text me right now while you're listening to this. You can do more than one thing at the same time, at least when it comes to that. And get on that list so you're getting my texts every single day. Secondly, workonyourgameuniversity.com. That is where you go to work with me next. That is the place you go. That is not one place. It's not a place. It's not a possibility. It is the place to go when you're ready to move up and take the next step working with me directly. Who I focus on working with are people with entrepreneurial minds who understand that in order for you to get to your next level, the most important thing you need is not just more information, because listen, Google has that covered and they have more information stored than I could ever store in my own head, but the application of that information, the insights, how to use that information, how to strategize and systematize and organize that information, and the mindset necessary to put it all to work and make it work over and over and over and over again so you can make the money you want to make in your business. Google can't do that, but I can. So workonyourgameuniversity.com, that's where you go to work with me. That's your next step in working with me as you continue to listen to this masterclass that we have right here. Now let's get into the topic. The objection is the reason. This episode is about how the objection that you have to taking action, meaning there's something that you know you want to do, but for whatever reason you're not doing it. It doesn't matter what it is. And I'm going to go over some of them here today. Anything you're thinking about doing right now in your life, you know you want to do it, but you have an objection, you have a reason, you have an excuse, you have something blocking you from actually doing it. I don't care what it is. And again, I'm going to go into those. That is the exact reason why you need to do it. So I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you get off your ass, and I'm going to help you get off the fence. I'm going to help you stop not doing what you know you need to do. That's what I'm going to help you do here today. Are you ready for that? Buckle up. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is the objection is the reason. All right, so what this comes down to, point number one, is the chicken and the egg problem. Many of you are probably familiar with this concept. Chicken and the egg problem is, which one comes first? So I need to do this first, I need to do that first. So an example of that I remember from back in the day when I was a teenager, when I was in my mid-teens, in the environment that I come from, the community I come from, all the kids around that age, 15, 16, 17, our parents would send us out and say, go get a job. You need to go get a job because you don't have a job the rest of your life, you need to get ready, and you're old enough now to earn some of your own money. Now, it's not going to be enough to cover food, clothing, shelter, but our mothers and fathers will say to us, all right, you go get a job, you at least make some weekend money. So now I, parent, don't have to spend as much money on you because now you have some of your own money. So if you want to go to the mall, or you want to go to the movies, or you want to go get a slice of pizza, you can pay for it yourself with your money. So it's basically getting us prepared for adult life. Now, sharing all that to say this, because sometimes we would go look for jobs and we would come up with convenient excuses, which were mostly nonsense. And I'm going to explain. This is all about the chicken and egg problem that I'm laying out here. We would say, well, in order for me to get a job, a lot of jobs want somebody who has experience. And then we will follow that up with, well, if I can't get a job in the first place, how can I get the experience in order for me to get a job? So it's like this circular problem. That's what we call the chicken and the egg problem. It's this circular issue. Well, I want to do this, but in order to do this, I got to have that, but I don't have that because I can't do this. So now I can't do anything, and this becomes a circular issue. And many people live their entire lives like this. It's one thing you're 15 years old talking about, I can't get a job at the local McDonald's because I don't have experience. There's another thing when you're 35 talking about you can't do this because you don't have that. It's a little bit more serious when you're a little bit older. And the older you get, the more serious this becomes. So let's take a situation that almost everybody can relate to: money. Actually, everybody can relate to the concept of not doing something because of a financial burden or some financial hurdle that for whatever reason you cannot cover. I want to do this thing. Let's say, for example, I want to hire a personal trainer so I can get in better shape because I'm not in good shape and I can't do the workouts on my own. I know that doesn't work. But I can't hire a personal trainer because I don't have the money to hire the trainer. And since I can't hire the trainer, I can't get in good shape, and I can't get in good shape because I didn't hire the trainer. So it becomes a circular issue. Now, we've all heard the saying, right? That it takes money to make money. Everybody ever heard that before? If you listen to this show and you've been listening long enough, you know I've already dealt with and destroyed this argument that it takes money to make money. Now, are there times in life when you do need to have money in order to make money? Yes, but understand that is not all of life. What it takes to make money, ladies and gentlemen, is value. Value makes money, not money itself. Money is a form of value. But when you have value or wealth, and I did a whole episode on wealth, that's what you need in order to make money. So if you want to learn more about wealth, listen to episode 2478 where I explained it. Episode number 2437, the ICE method for wealth creation. Episode number 2478 is money, wealth, and poverty. I did a discussion on all three. Episode 2437 is how you create wealth. I gave you a method for doing it. Episode number 1477, how to create wealth. So if any of you didn't know about how I broke down the concept of wealth, please go listen to those episodes, which you can listen to all in one place. That is workonyourgamepodcast.com, by the way. So any episode that I reference that is not in the feed, because the feed only holds about 500 episodes on Spotify, Apple, etc., just go to workonyourgamepodcast.com, and every episode that we ever did is listed on that site. You can listen to anything right there on that one page, just in case any of you didn't know. Sometimes people text me and say, well, Jay, I'm looking for this episode, but the feed doesn't go that far. Where's the rest of them? Workonyourgamepodcast.com. That's where all the episodes are. So using money, ladies and gentlemen, is a way to make money and is often the fastest way to make money. It is not the only way, but it is the fastest way to make money. I talked about this in episode 1835 when I talked about the three forms of marketing online and how to use each one. Fastest way to market yourself is advertising. That's the fastest way to get attention. If I wanted to get 1,000 people to know about me right now who don't know about me, who didn't know about me 5 minutes ago, the fastest way to do it is if I go to Facebook or Google, give them a whole bunch of money and say, send me traffic, i.e. eyeballs, i.e. human beings. Send human beings to this website. And they will send me however many people I'm willing to pay for. That's the fastest way to get attention, is to use money. But that doesn't mean it's the only way. Another way is I can find somebody who already has attention, figure out a way to work with them. I can get attention that way. Not as fast as ads, but it works. I can also create a whole bunch of content like I'm doing right now. This is content. And over time, this will start to draw eyeballs to me. Like most of you did not find me through an advertisement. Most of you found me because I was just putting this material out. You were looking for something and you came across me, whether it was on YouTube or it was on the podcasting app. Some form of content is how you found me. Whole point is, there are other ways to draw attention, and I mean other ways to get things done, rather. Let's say that, whether it's drawing attention, making money, than just using money. So if you don't have money, that is not a reason to not get something done. It's not an excuse and it's not acceptable. Now again, using money is the fastest way to get money. We usually call this, we have a word for it, it's called investing. You put money into something, you get money back. That's usually called investment, financial investment, that is. But the biggest objection people have to making any form of investment, i.e. using your money to create a result, is that, well, I would do that, Dre, that's a great idea, but I don't have any money, so I can't make the investment. Or not that they don't have any money, I don't have the amount of money necessary to make investment X. Therefore, I can't do thing X, therefore I can't get the outcome that I need for X, therefore I won't be able to invest, and again, it becomes this circular problem. But if you don't invest, you won't have the money, so this becomes, again, the chicken and egg problem. Which comes first, the investment or the money? All right, so again, the chicken or the egg, the investment or the money. Which one comes first? This is a logical question if you don't understand how to break it down. Here's the good news, folks. You listen to a person who's, one of my superpowers is taking concepts, breaking them down, and then putting them back together in ways that you can understand. Because that's what we're going to do here. Let's move on to point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is the objection is the reason. So if you have this objection, any form of objection where you say, I want to do A, but in order to do A, I need B, but since I don't have B, I can't do A, and now you're sitting there confused and doing nothing because you don't have A or B, and you need one to get the other, and you got the circular issue. Here's what you do. Point number 2. The fastest route from point A to point B is a straight line, everybody. This is an understanding. The fastest route from point A to point B is a straight line. In other words, I want you to understand metaphorically why I said that. The very excuse / reason, maybe you don't want to call what you're saying as an excuse. Okay, we won't call it an excuse. Let's call it a reason. Okay, the very reason that you're giving yourself to not do something is the exact thing that you know you need to do. That reason is the exact reason why you need to do it. That's the reason why you're giving yourself an excuse to rationalize it and make yourself feel okay about not taking action. See, if you really didn't need to do it, guess what? You wouldn't need to craft a reason to justify it. Let me take a sip of my water while you think about what I just said. Let me say it again, and I want you to think about this. If you didn't believe that you needed to do the thing, then you wouldn't need to craft a reason to justify not doing the thing. You see, if you didn't feel like you needed to hire a personal trainer, you wouldn't need to come up with a reason to justify not hiring a personal trainer, because you don't feel like you need one. See, I don't need a tennis coach. I don't need to craft a reason. I don't need to make a story in my mind as to why I don't need to hire a tennis coach. Why? Because I have no desire within me to get coached to play tennis. Therefore, if somebody asks me, Dre, why don't you have a tennis coach? I say, I don't want one. All right, that's it. I don't need to give you a story. There's no spiel that I need to give about that. But if you know that you want to do thing XYZ and you're not doing it, and you're coming up with a story to explain why you're not doing XYZ, that's because you know you need to do XYZ. So the reason that you're giving is the exact point of why you need to do it. Anybody follow what I'm saying here? So this is about changing the way that you're thinking about a situation. That's where we got to start. We got to start with the mentality, then we move to the actions, then we move to the outcomes. So you wouldn't need to craft a reason to justify something that you don't want to do. You would just not do it. So if somebody said, why don't you go jump off a cliff with no parachute and no safety net? Most people would just say, well, no, I'm not doing it. I have no desire to do that. I'm not interested in doing it. I'm not even thinking about doing it. And you don't have to come up with an excuse or a story as to why you're not doing it, because it doesn't make sense to you. It's not something that you're even considering. See, it's because you know that you need to do something. That's the exact decision that you need to act on it. Let me say that again. The thing that you're telling yourself not to do, or you come up with a rationalization as to why to not do it, that is the very thing you need to use to move yourself to action. I talked about confronting your rationalizations, which I broke down as rational lies in episode number 2456. If you have not listened to that episode, you know what to do. 2456, confronting your rational lies. Those are the logical nonsense ideas that we give ourselves about why not to do something when we know that's the exact very thing that we need to do. Let me move on to point number 3. Let's break this down even further. Today's topic, once again, is your excuse or your reason is the reason. The objection is the reason. Remember that you and I are creatures of habit as human beings, which means it is much easier for you and I to keep doing the same stuff that we've already been doing than it is for either of us to change and do something different. This is just the law of inertia, which I discussed in episode number 2466. It's much easier to stay in the same state, moving or not moving, doing something or not doing it, than it is to change our states. So since we are creatures of habit, this is why many people never change, i.e. they never take a leap forward that would produce a qualitative difference in their life. And again, it's not that human beings are stupid. Now, if you ever known somebody who just doesn't change, they keep making the same mistake over and over and over again, and you get frustrated with them, it's not because they're dumb. It's not because they don't understand the change that they need to make. It's not because they don't even have the desire to do so. It's simply that the law of inertia is stronger than their desire for change. When your desire for change is stronger than the inertia that is acting upon you, that's when you change. And only then. Our job as salespeople is to move people. All of us are salespeople, by the way. Our job is to move people over that threshold, maybe faster or stronger than they could ever move themselves. The tragedy of life is that most human beings never have anyone, let alone themselves, push them over that threshold. Therefore, they never change. Therefore, they go to, and I talked about in episode number 468, the most valuable real estate on earth, which is known as the cemetery, the graveyard, because they take all their value with them when they die. See, it's not because people don't logically, understand how it could work if they were to do this thing. And it's not because they don't think that they need to do it. They understand they need to do it. It's the subconscious programming that we all have within us that is much stronger than our conscious thinking. So when you go read a book and the book says you need to do these 8 things to change your life and turn your business around and your career around, we read the book and we say, damn, these are 8 great ideas. You know what? I should do these. They do make sense. I should go do these things. That's your conscious mind thinking. Your subconscious mind has much more power than your conscious mind. So even when your conscious mind gets a great idea, your subconscious mind can easily smother it, destroy it, and basically kill it before it ever has a chance to come to life. That's what the subconscious mind does to us all day, every day. I talked about this in my book, Work on Your Game. We called it automatic negative thoughts, which are what? They're the thoughts that automatically shoot down any new idea that we have if we don't have enough momentum to overpower those automatic thoughts, because the subconscious mind controls 85% of our thinking and the conscious mind is only 15%. So 15 against 85, usually the 15 is going to lose. That's just simple math. So if you've been subconsciously programmed for the last 25 years to do things one way, and then someone like me comes along and gives you an idea that I share for 25 minutes to do something different, which one do you think is going to win? Your 25 years of programming or my 25 minutes of talking to you? Which one do you think will win? Just by simple logical reasoning, which one do you think is going to win? Again, this is your job as an influential individual. And the first person you got to influence is the individual in the mirror, let alone the other people out there. Your job as an influential person or a salesperson is think about this, whenever I'm talking to someone and I fail to overcome their subconscious programming with my conscious conversation, I have come up short in my job. I didn't do my job. I gotta own that. This person I know needs help. They have known for the last 20 years they need help. I talked to them for 20 minutes. I was unable to get them over the threshold of fighting against what their subconscious mind is saying. I did not succeed in my job as an influential individual. It is my job to influence you to get over your 20 years of bullshit with my 20 minutes of conversation. And you're like, Dre, that's an uphill battle. That's a tough challenge that you're putting yourself in. Why would you make that your duty? Well, hey, this is why selling is the highest paid profession in the world. Because this is your job. You're doing one of the hardest jobs there is getting over other people's bullshit with what you're going to tell them. And the better you can do this, the better you'll be able to help people, first of all, because everybody needs to do this, and all of us have some bullshit in our minds that we need to get over. So the better you can help other people do this, the better you'll be changing lives. And secondly, because this is such a tough job and there are people out there who get good at it, this is why you get paid the most. You get to write your own check when you are a good salesperson. Writing your own check just means you can name your price. Now remember how Priceline used to have that thing? You go on Priceline and you want to rent a car or get a hotel or get a flight, you can name your price and they would match the price. All right, so you can name your price when you're a good salesperson. Why? Because of what I just told you. That's the job. This is not an easy job, everybody. Again, so if you want to step into the sales space, and by the way, you're already in the sales space, you're either doing it well, you're doing it somewhere less than well. If you're not able to move people, you have come up short in your job. Own that. It's not about beating yourself up or thinking lesser of yourself. It's just owning, hey, I didn't do what I'm supposed to do here. That's your responsibility. Most people will never move themselves to action. It is your job when you step up, especially entrepreneurs. You are claiming, you are believing in yourself enough to say, I'm going to help people do for themselves what they would not do for themselves. I'm going to help them do it in ways that they wouldn't do it themselves. You got me? So if you're listening to this and you ever gotten on a call with me about something that you know you needed to do, and you got off the call and didn't do that thing, and you went right back to the life you were living before that call, meaning I failed to get you over your own nonsense, your own bullshit, I apologize to you. I'm offering an open apology to you because it is my responsibility to help you overcome that programming, and I failed to do so on that conversation. I gotta own that because it's my job as a salesperson. All of you who are in sales, this is the way you need to be thinking. Point number 4, today's topic once again, the objection is the reason. What helps you do all of this? What helps you do all these things that I'm talking about here is clear principles. You need to have clear principles. What does that mean? I talked about principles in a lot of episodes here on this show. I'm not going to list all of them, but episode 2504, most recently, I talked about being hurt versus being injured. It was a discussion of principles and standards. Episode number 2447, I talked about the 80% principle. Episode 2320, I talked about principles for increasing your money. And the one that I really want you to listen to is episode 2211, principles, then strategies, then tactics. This is a framework that I broke down in my last Work on Your Game live event, helping people understand the hierarchy of how you make decisions. You need clear principles. Every human being, you need clear principles. One principle that I have is that I use money to invest in myself so I can put myself in a better position relationally, financially, and professionally. That's a principle of mine. So what does that mean? How does that principle manifest itself in action? Let me explain. It means that if and when necessary, I will spend money that I do not have to put myself in a better position in a specific area of my life. I will do that. I have done it. I actively do it, and I will do it in the future. There will be times I will commit to spending money that I don't even have to better my situation. Why? Because I understand as a principle that using money to move myself forward is the fastest and most efficient way to move forward. Therefore, I have the principle that I will spend money even when it's money I don't have. I'll do it. That's a principle that I have. Now, I have a certain mindset that allows me to do that and not lose sleep at night. Not everybody has that mindset. Now, the good news is you can develop that mindset. I have a program inside of my university called the Bulletproof Mindset Framework that will help you develop the mindset to do exactly what I just said. To where you get to the point where you can invest money that you do have. But you have to develop the mindset that, you know what, even if I need to go in the hole a little bit, I'll invest in this because it's the fastest way for me to move forward. I need to do it. There was a couple, they have a company called Lady Boss that they recently sold. Their names are Brandon and Kaylin. And they told this story probably from about 2015. They were not in a good situation financially, and they were like counting out coins to go to the grocery store to buy groceries for themselves because that's how broke they were in their situation. And they had been in like network marketing. They were entrepreneurial. This is an entrepreneurial couple. They had been trying all this different stuff, and they had looked at an opportunity to get into. They had seen another business program they were possibly going to get into. Problem was they didn't have the money. They could not afford to get in the program. I just told you they were breaking their piggy bank just to go and get groceries from the grocery store. Let alone could they sign up for this course. Was probably like a $2,000 offer that was made to them. $2,000 to get into this program. And they're sitting in their car talking about it, crying, really disappointed in the fact that how are we grown adults and we can't, buy groceries, let alone we can't get into this $2,000 program. And I believe it was Kaylin, I believe it was the wife who made the decision. She said, you know what, fuck it. We need to do this because if we don't do this with this money that we don't have, then how is the situation ever going to change? So they put the money, they put it all on a credit card, the last bit of credit they could possibly squeeze out of their accounts, put that $2,000 on the credit card, started their own, invested in this program, launched their own program, and their business became a $100 million company. And it was recently, I believe it was last year, I was at a conference, they were there, their company got acquired. I don't know how much they sold it for, but I bet it was a lot of money. They became a $100 million company over the course of less than 10 years. But it started because they didn't have any money. They said, we're going to go on a hole and get into this program because if we don't, what the hell else are we going to do? I'm not telling you need to do that, but I'm telling you need to do that. So, see, you need to know what your principles are, though. I'm kind of being tongue-in-cheek here, but I'm not. You need to know what your principles are so that when it comes time to make tough decisions, you don't need to hem and haw about it for 3 weeks. It should be easy for you to make a decision, yes or no, because your principles are clear. Do you know what your principles are? So because I have this principle that I just explained to you, it's easy for me to make a decision when my mind produces an objection to a decision. My mind says, don't do that, Dre, don't do it. My principle says, do it. So I tell my mind, shut the hell up, and I go do it. So if that means paying money to go to an event, to hire a coach, to join a program, sign up for a course, I will do it because I have this principle that I will use money and I see it as an investment rather than as an expense, depending on what I'm paying for. Now, these things that I just mentioned, events, coaching, programs, courses, those are all investments because the money that I put into it, I'm going to make more on the back end than I had to invest on the front end. So I'm putting in a certain amount and I'm getting back more. Put in X, get out 10X. And once I make an investment, guess what I do? I will make sure that that investment becomes a good decision. I will make sure that I make my money back from that investment. I make more than my money back from that investment. Why? Because I invested in it. It has my full attention now because I paid money for it. Everybody understand what I'm saying here? See, this reduces all the hemming and hawing, the back and forth, the indecision that slows many people down from getting to what they want, is having clear principles in place of why the thing that you're using as the excuse is the exact reason why you need to do it. Let's recap today's class, which is the objection is the reason. This is about how the objection that you are using is usually the very reason why you just need to flip it around, why you need to do the thing that you're objecting to doing. Point number one, this becomes a chicken and egg problem, this circular problem. I can't do A because I don't have B, but I don't have B because I haven't done A yet. So now what do? And this is a problem that many people live their whole lives with and they never address. I'm addressing it here today. Point number two, fastest route from point A to point B is a straight line. So if you are telling yourself a story about why you don't need to do something, then that means that's exactly why you need to do it. Because if you really didn't need to do it, you wouldn't need to come up with a story in the first place. Number three, remember that you and I are creatures of habit. It is much easier for us to keep doing the same things, even if that same thing is self-destructive. Even if that same thing is hurting us, it is much easier to keep doing that than to do something different. When I am talking to someone as a salesperson, I'm going against their 25 years of subconscious programming, or maybe with it, hopefully, but most of the time against it, with my 25 years of conversation, and my 25 minutes, of conversation. And it is my job, it's a tough job, but it is my job to overcome your 25 years of bullshit with my 25 minutes of conversation. And if I fail to do that, then I don't make any money. That's your job as an entrepreneur. That's the long and short of what it means to be an entrepreneur. Now, there are strategies to help you do this more efficiently, but you must figure out a way to do this because this is the only way that you can make money in business. So if any of you who's listening to this, I've ever had a conversation with you and I was unable to overcome your subconscious bullshit with our conscious conversation, I apologize. I didn't do my job that day. And because of that, you didn't change. And because of that, I didn't make any money because nobody won. We all lost in that situation. And number four, what helps you overcome this whole concept, the objection being the reason? You got to have clear principles. A clear principle that says, I'm willing to invest in anything that's going to help me move forward, and I will make sure that I follow through on the investment to make sure that every penny that I invest, I earn back, and plus some, because I'm going to listen to every single thing that's told to me. I'm going to do everything that's asked of me. When you have that principle in place, then you have no choice but to make things work out. Now, this is the mindset of an entrepreneur. I understand that not everybody thinks like this. I know a lot of people. Most people do not think the way that I just laid out. But I like to believe that the audience that I have developed here on this show, most of you are more of this mindset than you're not of this mindset. And if you're not of this mindset, you probably won't be around here for long anyway. But the whole point is, these principles, you need to be clear on what your principles are. Your principles should be written down on paper. You should know exactly what they are. You should commit them to memory. You should know what your principles are without even having to look at them. And if you don't know, then that's one of the reasons why you suffer from one of the common traits of failure that Napoleon Hill laid out in Think and Grow Rich. And one of the common traits of failure is indecision. Indecision. The reason people can't make decisions, not because they don't think, not because they don't have all the information, because they have no principles upon which to base their thinking. Fix that problem. All that said, text me. Tell me the best insight, best idea, best thing you're going to do different based on what you heard here today. My number is 305-384-6894 and workonyourgameuniversity.com. You want someone to help you lay out some principles, get clear on what your principles are, and then how do you put strategies in place based on those principles and then actions based on those strategies? Come to Work on Your Game University and let's get to work. That's workonyourgameuniversity.com. The links to everything I've mentioned are down below in the show notes. Work on your game. Dre, all